and I hereby declare to the Pokemon of the world, I will be a Pokemon Master!
30 years, 3 decades, over 1,500 weeks, more days than I feel like counting or looking up online, but that's how long Pokemon has been part of our world, and what a lifetime it's been. There's a lot to celebrate in the year of Pokemon's 30th anniversary, from the vast library of amazing games, the phenomenon that was and continues to be Pokemon Go, and the long-running anime that opened our hearts up to an electric rat.
Pikachu!
But the real stars of this gargantuan, multifaceted franchise are of course the pocket monsters themselves, and that's why we are ranking the very best of them. Don't worry about catching them all, because these are the 30 Pokemon you really want. And why would you want these 30 as chosen by our most Pokemon-obsessed editors? Because they're the greatest, that's why. There are many methods we could have used to rank these monsters, from analyzing their battle proficiency to assessing how many appearances they make across games, anime, cards, and plushies, but ultimately we've gone with our hearts rather than our heads. These are the 30 Pokemon that we feel best capture the magic and wonder of one of pop culture's most important universes. So, who did we choose? Well, see for yourself.
Whoa! What's that? Wow! I can't believe it! A Bulbasaur!
From its place as one of the original starters to its newly found role as one of Ditto's best friends in Pokopia, Bulbasaur has long had a place in players' hearts. Garnering nutrients from the seed on its back, it's often debated within the Pokemon universe whether Bulbasaur is more plant or animal, though arguably a better question to be asking based on what we learned in the anime episode, Bulbasaur's Secret Garden, is Bulbasaur in a cult? Regardless of the answer to either question, this little green guy is undoubtedly one of the most recognizable and nostalgic Pokemon in the entire Pokedex, which may have something to do with the fact that Bulbasaur is the very first entry.
It's Arceus!
What? It's here for real?
Within the Pokemon universe, Arceus is basically God. It's certainly not always an altruistic deity, kidnapping children, vanishing Giratina for potentially dubious reasons, and blowing up players' phones with more cryptic fervor than a situationship. However, they did shape the entire universe, so we can kinda give him a pass based on that. Plus, along with creating the world, Arceus is the only Pokemon that can utilize the Judgment move or have the multi-type ability, and their design also makes it look like they're wearing a really slay pair of boots. What an absolute icon.
Use Meteor Mash!
Essentially an arachnid-adjacent supercomputer, Metagross is the perfect embodiment of both arachnophobia and technophobia in a four-brained package. Though there are many arguably more terrifying Pokemon, Metagross manages to make you question just how scary creatures like Banette really are when you learn things like how Metagross enjoys pinning down opponents with its extremely heavy body and consuming them with the giant mouth on its belly. And don't even get me started on its Mega form. The description of Rich in Ultra Sun reads, quote, "Its intellect surpasses its previous level, resulting in battles so cruel they'll make you want to cover your eyes." Metagross is utterly horrifying, but also certifiably badass.
Dragonite, use your slam attack now!
Considered a pseudo-legendary by many fans, it would be impossible not to include Dragonite on this list. Outside the nostalgia factor of being one of the original 151, it's also one of the kindest Pokemon, known for rescuing drowning people and ships lost at sea. It even canonically gets nicer with its Mega evolution, but don't let that kindness fool you, it will still pummel you and your Pokemon into the ground if provoked. However, according to the Legend ZA Pokedex entry for its Mega form, it finishes off its opponents with mercy in its heart. Isn't that sweet?
Take it easy, Dragonite!
Holucha! Lucha!
From how much aura Holucha has, you would never guess it's only a couple feet tall. Despite its small size, it's got just as much fighting prowess as Pokemon like Machamp, and with more flair for the dramatic. This showboating can sometimes get it into trouble, leading enemies to counterattack while Holucha spends too much time launching into a move, but if anything, this just makes this little diva even more lovable. Despite Holucha's theatricality, it prefers to live a quiet life. Holuchas don't flock together, and their only known enemies in the wild are loud groups of primates, so it's kinda hard not to stand an independent luchador who hates noise pollution. Ditto has risen to more prominence than ever before following the release of Pokopia, but this amorphous critter has been charming since its very first iteration in Gen 1. This purple blob is deceptively simple, able to change its DNA at the drop of a hat. It can reconstitute its entire cellular structure with no lasting harm to its own well-being, copying both its target's appearance and moves, which in a way makes it one of the most powerful Pokemon around. Of course, it's not flawless, offering faltering in its representation due to laughter or misremembering, but that just makes Ditto even more relatable.
Hey!
That face, it's all wrong. What's going on?
Piplup, is something wrong?
Looks to me like Piplup's had its heart stolen by Meryl.
Piplup is arguably one of the most adorable starters in the entire Pokemon franchise, a diminutive cutie pie that can elicit an awe from even the most hardened of hearts. Funnily enough, as much as this Pokemon looks built for being scooped up and held like a little baby, it's one of the hardest to get close to due to its extreme sense of pride. It doesn't like accepting food from its trainers or bonding with them, and will angrily puff its chest out after falling over, which it does quite often. However, much like a petulant cat refusing affection, Piplup's resistance to bonding just makes us want to squish its little face even more.
But at least you're safe.
Gengar's being tossed around by Flygon.
Though you might assume Flygon would be a bug dragon type, and honestly many fans are still confused on how it's not all these years later, it's actually one of the very few ground dragon type Pokemon, giving it a veritable list of immunities, resistances, and types it's effective against. Though the franchise has seen several more dragon Pokemon since Flygon arrived back in Gen 3, its sleek yet cute appearance and the whimsical noise it makes, the flapping of its wings apparently sounds like a woman singing, have given it a special place in many players' hearts several generations later.
Rage tackle attack!
Aside from Ditto and Mew, Eevee is probably the most genetically complex Pokemon, able to evolve into 8 different creatures depending on the conditions. Sure, everyone has a favorite evolution, but none of them would exist without the OG itself. Seen as a sort of scientific mystery within the Pokemon universe, its DNA potentially holds the answer to how all evolution works, but no one has quite figured it out yet. At a glance, Eevee is adorable but relatively simple. It's basically just a fox cat, but it's one of the biggest enigmas too, and its potential lineages also make it one of the most important.
Lucario, I choose you!
Lucario is a certified Pokemon star, serving as protagonist in one of the franchise's best movies, Lucario and the Mystery of Mew, as well as essentially being the poster child for Mega Evolution, theorized to be the first Pokemon to ever Mega Evolve. Able to detect the auras even of invisible creatures, sense emotions from half a mile away, and understand human speech, it's no wonder why it's been paired with some of the most iconic trainers across the series, like Cynthia and Bruno. Lucario's star continues to rise even decades after its initial introduction, recently playing a big role in Pokemon Legends ZA, cementing its legacy as one of the most iconic Pokemon around.
Yeah! Lucario, you did it! Pikachu?
Based on its appearance, Mimikyu would be one of the most convincing Pokemon across the entire roster to play the antagonist in a horror film, but it's actually a secret softie. Underneath the shoddily made costume lurks a mysterious entity that's made everyone who's seen it pass away soon afterwards, so it dons the outfit in an effort to get closer to others. Having chosen its Pikachu disguise based on the yellow fella's huge popularity, Mimikyu just wants to be loved. If that wasn't enough reason to adore it, it's also great in battle. With its exclusive disguise ability letting it tank the first hit, Mimikyu can be a very effective swords dance sweeper.
This may be a good time to stop pretending and accept yourself for who you really are.
Handcrafted by Arceus to control the flow of time, Dialga is certainly in the upper pantheon of Pokemon gods. Whether you know it as the selling point for Pokemon Diamond, a villain in the Mystery Dungeon series, or the almighty Sinnoh worshipped by the Diamond Clan in Legends Arceus, this powerful creature has an extremely storied history in the Pokemon series. Its Steel Dragon typing also gives it a bevy of resistances, and combined with higher HP makes it a great defensive option, especially compared to its counterpart, Palkia.
So... Yes, Absol are so disasters! We're blasting off again!
Absol is a Pokemon that feels straight out of Greek mythology, able to sense incoming natural disasters and in turn be blamed for them, being seen as a doombringer to humanity when it was only trying to help. It looks like an edgy emo cat, and with its Mega Absol and Mega Absol Z forms, it goes completely I could be your Angle or you are devil mode in the best way possible. It has immense power, but it doesn't abuse it. It actually tries to cut down its foes in a single blow out of mercy, which the Mega Z Pokedex entry describes as an act of kindness to keep them from suffering.
Thanks, Absol! Thanks for everything!
Absol.
Whoa, it's huge!
Easily one of the most relatable Pokemon, Snorlax embodies the slacker that lurks within us all. Caring only about snacks and naps and resting peacefully as children play on its stomach, it's living the kind of idyllic lifestyle that we humans can only dream of. Plus, Snorlax is always finding new ways to be even more chilled out, like its Mosslax form in Pokopia. It's quite inspirational, really. It's also been a long-standing part of the metagame, serving as one of the most effective stall walls for players setting up their teams in both the VGC and TCG.
What are the odds of running into that runt in this large lake?
Gyarados is one of the best examples of a glow-up, not just in Pokemon, but in modern pop culture in general. Its transition from silly little useless fish Magikarp to a badass water dragon is one for the history books, and one that was inspired by ancient folklore. It's also a large part of what made Gyarados so special when it was introduced in Gen 1, the exercise and patience of coddling Magikarp to level 20 for a powerful reward. It's one of the angriest Pokemon in the canon, often engaging in city-destroying rampages that can go on for months at a time. Gyarados is not to be messed with, and absolutely ace to have on your team. Let's be honest, this guy is a straight-up dinosaur, and that absolutely rules. It's also canonically kind of a jerk, but in a hilarious way. Because its tough exterior makes it impossible to injure, it's constantly picking fights, knowing it'll win, and it's described in Silver as having an insolent nature that makes it not care about others. Tyranitar can cause huge earthquakes simply by walking, and has been known to bring down entire mountains just to make a nest, and its mega form is pretty much just Godzilla. Everything about this Pokemon is over the top and awesome.
Well, alright then. There's no other choice.
Somewhere along the way, the Pokemon franchise shifted from saying Greninja's Shuriken were made of compressed water to saying they were made out of mucus, the latter of which is decidedly less appealing, but both options are still unequivocally badass. Though intimidating as an opponent, the anime also showed the soft side of Greninja as well, endearing it to many fans as they watched it grow up from just a wee Froakie. Ash and Greninja solidifying their bond to unleash the Pokemon's special Ash Greninja form was particularly charming, and there really hasn't been a comparable transformation before or since.
All right, Gardevoir, it's time. Let's show the fans a spectacular battle! Gardevoir.
There's a reason this iconic Pokemon earned itself a life-size plush, and it's not just to appease creepy dudes on the internet. Gardevoir has had a persistent presence in the TCG meta, with almost every tournament having at least a few players running some sort of Gardevoir deck. Even recently, Gardevoir EX was one of the most high-value cards from the Mega Evolution set. Last year, the TCG Masters champion at Pokemon Worlds won with a Gardevoir deck, and the same strategy will likely be seen again this year.
Wow! Now that packed a powerful punch!
There is no data. There are still Pokemon yet to be identified.
Ho-Oh is the master of first impressions. When Western audiences saw Ho-Oh flying through the sky in the first episode of the anime, we all collectively said, "What on earth is that?" and have been enraptured by the mysterious rainbow bird ever since. Based on the legend of the ever-resurrecting Phoenix, Ho-Oh has the ability to bring creatures back to life, and revived Raikou, Entei, and Suicune after the Brass Tower fire, making it an integral part of Pokemon lore. Ash seeing Ho-Oh in the pilot is also potentially why he never ages. Legend says those that see it are granted eternal happiness, and journeying with his Pokemon is where the trainer derives the most joy. Though I don't know, being 10 years old for 30 years kinda sounds like a curse.
Okay, Staryu, here's your chance to...
Sigh?
Maybe it's It's a horror movie.
A chronic headache sufferer that's riddled with anxiety, Psyduck is a very relatable Pokemon. The Pokedex sometimes roasts Psyduck a little bit, calling it unaware and totally vacant, but fans have spent many hours watching it serve as a loyal companion to Misty in the anime, proving there's more to it than meets the eye. To be fair to the Pokedex though, Psyduck is canonically unaware of its own powers, having no memory of whenever it unleashes them, but that just makes this confused duck even more endearing.
Psyduck, you're the big hero.
Psyduck?
Then let's get this underway. Garchomp, battle dance!
This guy looks like a combination between a jet and a land shark, which is iconic in and of itself, but its role as Cynthia's partner Pokemon makes it a true Hall of Famer. Cynthia knew what she was doing with that choice. Garchomp's well-rounded stats and its rough skin ability make it an absurdly good addition to almost any team. Garchomp doesn't just look like a jet plane either, it's able to fly at sonic speeds and is known to eat entire flocks of birds mid-air, which is admittedly horrifying, but also a perfect example of this Pokemon's expansive power. For many players, Suicune was who the Master Ball was for. It turned heads as the legendary box art star for Crystal, and the opening title sequence to the game just cemented its coolness. Basically an environmentalist in a leopard body, it has the ability to purify any water source, dashing around the world on the wind to do so. Its role in Pokemon Forever can't be overlooked either, especially in the climax of the film as it tries to help Celebi, showing this imposing Pokemon has a heart of gold. Or crystal, or silver, or whatever.
Suicune, thank you. Maybe we'll see you again someday.
From the early days of searching for it under a truck, Mew has always had a certain mystique for players. It's said to contain the DNA of every single Pokemon, with every other Pokemon potentially being a Mew descendant. This complicated DNA structure means Mew has the ability to learn every move, giving it the biggest pool of any Pokemon, and it can transform itself into almost any other Pokemon at will, something that's sparked a lot of speculation in the fandom about the relationship between Ditto and Mew. It's also been the subject of some of the most iconic Pokemon cards to date, like the Bubble Mew and Ancient Mew, further cementing its legacy as an enduringly popular Pokemon.
Squirtle, 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 Squirtle.
Meowth, what's it saying?
I think it said give us your food or else.
Our fearless, sunglasses-wearing leader of the Squirtle Squad was inevitably going to wind up on this list. Definitely walking the line between Cutie Patootie and Cool Guy, Squirtle is a favorite amongst the original starters for many fans, and poring over the hard data suggests that it's actually the strongest choice. However, its place on this list is truly cemented by its anime legacy, having some of the best moments of the entire series. From its introduction in the Squirtle Squad, to its heartwarming farewell to Ash, to the weird yet engaging plot of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Team Go-Getters Out of the Gate, in which a human boy is transformed into a Squirtle, this little guy has brought viewers joy for years.
Squirtle.
Celebi, all right.
Many players have always been fascinated by Celebi's rarity. From its introduction in Gen 2, it's consistently been one of the trickiest Pokemon to acquire, often only available through events or trading. Its starring role in Pokemon Forever further catapulted it to stardom, introducing more time-traveling lore as Guardian of the Forest. Because it can exist simultaneously throughout time, Celebi serves as a beacon of hope, with its Alpha Sapphire Pokedex entry stating that so long as Celebi appears, a bright and shining future awaits us. It also takes the cake for one of the most satisfying meta builds in the history of Pokemon TCG Pocket, potentially landing dozens of hits on an opponent at a time.
Do you really think I'm afraid of you?
Gengar possesses some of the creepiest Pokedex entries of all time, and I mean that in a very complimentary way. They're all littered with references to Gengar laying curses on people, hiding in their shadows, and stealing their lives. Perhaps the scariest is from Pokemon Sun. Should you feel yourself attacked by a sudden chill, it is evidence of an approaching Gengar. There is no escaping it. Give up. Gengar undoubtedly set a terrifyingly cool precedent as the final evolution of the very first Ghost Pokemon line, and its hilarious appearances in the anime further solidified it as a fan favorite ever since. Even decades after Gengar's introduction, a recent survey showed that it still ranks within the top 3 most popular Pokemon. Hey, what's cooler than a legendary dragon Pokemon that looks like a snake and a missile had a baby? A missile snake baby dragon that is also obsessed with world peace, obviously. Rayquaza, the face of Pokemon Emerald, is both the guardian of Earth and the keeper of the peace between ancient beefing gods Groudon and Kyogre. It resides in Earth's atmosphere, subsisting on water and space dust as it protects the planet from threats like aliens and meteors and stuff like that. Though Rayquaza aims to keep the peace, its ability to control the weather makes it a literal force of nature, and it's the only Pokemon that can Mega Evolve without a stone, instead possessing a dedicated organ for that specific purpose.
Mega!
Rayquaza!
Trust me, and I'll show you a way to focus your powers that will make you invincible. Show me.
Many fans who enjoyed Pokemon the first movie as children probably found Mewtwo terrifying, and honestly it still is from an adult perspective, especially when you run into a TCG opponent with Mewtwo on their team. Aside from those that are literal gods, Mewtwo is arguably one of the most powerful legendary Pokemon. With absurdly strong psychic powers, it possesses basically every cool ability you can think of, from telekinesis to mind erasure to the capability for human speech via telepathy. Its lore as a genetic experiment is also one of the deepest in the franchise, sparking philosophical questions about what identity really means.
Am I just an experiment? A laboratory specimen? This cannot be my destiny.
It's so cute, it's the best of all!
You'll see.
Oh, hi, Pikachu!
Pika.
Ash and Pikachu are the dynamic duo in the Pokemon franchise fandom. It's hard to imagine what the anime possibly could have looked like without Pikachu by the trainer's side for hundreds of episodes, but it was almost Clefairy. In any case, since then, the fan-favorite Electric Rat has taken up the mantle as the overall mascot for the entire franchise. It's in almost all marketing materials, and people will trek from across the globe just to get Pokemon Center exclusive Pikachus. There is undoubtedly no character more synonymous with the overarching legacy of Pokemon than Pikachu. Truly, who else but Charizard could have taken the #1 spot in this list? The subject of some of the most iconic TCG cards of all time, a simultaneously badass and meaningful companion to Ash in the anime, and a Pokemon team staple going back to the very first game, Charizard is the undisputed GOAT. Since it appeared on the original box art for Pokemon Red, it was the first favorite for many, and to lots of fans, nothing has been able to dethrone it since.
We did it, Charizard! We won!
So there you have it, those are IGN's picks for the 30 best Pokemon of all time, based on vague and various criteria. Did we catch your favorite, or do we think we missed one of the all-time greats? There's over 1,000 of them, so it's very possible that your list is different from ours. Let us know in the comments below, and for more Pokemon, check out our list of the best Pokemon games of all time, and for everything else, stick with IGN.